Hello. I don't know if you can hear me. If you can, let me know in the chat. We are doing an impromptu live Kaffee break, live Kaffee und what's it called? Kaffee und Kuchen Break, live from Germany. I'm learning some German. My name is Keri Smith. I'm your regular host of the program. I've been on vacation in Germany this week with my husband. He's been doing shows. You can hear me, Dawn says. Great. Okay, good. I don't have a fancy microphone or anything. Volume. Okay, let me try to fix that. Coffee clutch. We're finally doing the coffee clutch I've always wanted to do. That's what I originally wanted to call coffee break. Okay, let me see if I can turn this up a little. Microphone. Turn that up a little. Phone.
How's that? Is that better? I changed it to the laptop microphone. I think that's better. You guys, thanks for bearing with me. If you're here, I'm assuming you're a friend of the show and you're not new. The sound is a bit unusual, Tyler says. Okay, but I think I fixed it. Definitely better. Okay, good. Yes, I think I got it. Yeah, if it's your first time here, this is a strange show because I'm in Germany and I figured why not try doing a live kerfuffle break from Germany and just saying hello to you guys. It's been a crazy week and also a lot of fun. I'll tell you, this is my first time in Germany. My husband, as I mentioned, Anthony Garcia, he was here doing shows. He was actually in Switzerland for a couple of weeks with his full band, and they played some festivals, and then the band came back to Texas or went back to Texas, and then he went on to Amsterdam and did more shows. And then he came here to Germany. And so I came to meet him this final week. It's my first time in Germany. And my first time in Switzerland and my first time in France. We drove across the border with some friends and went to France to Strasbourg for a day. And Anthony doesn't want to be on camera, but if I mispronounce something, please correct me. So I got to see 3 different countries, just a little bit of each. And I'll tell you some impressions. First of all, a lot of people on Twitter were asking me, and actually on Facebook, some were saying, "Oh, I guess you got the jab then, and you took it." Actually, I didn't, just in case you're curious. Switzerland does not require masks or a COVID test or a vaccine or anything to fly in and out of the country. And so that's why we flew in and out of Switzerland. I'm not sure about Germany. They may not even be requiring it now. But at the time when we were planning the trip, we knew definitely we could go in and out of Switzerland. And everything was normal. I'll tell you guys, I was flying for I probably flew more than most people during the COVID years, and I always managed to take my mask off with the exception of like one flight, one terrible Delta flight. But for the most part, I managed to just snack the whole time and I had my own little ways of. I couldn't wear it. It made me. It you know. I felt like I couldn't breathe. Maybe because I never got used to wearing it like some people did. So especially wearing it in an enclosed area like a plane, it just made me feel like I was gonna suffocate, so I'm not wearing that shit, sorry. But this flight was the first one where it was just totally normal. Nobody you would see a couple people wearing one by choice, a mask, but they don't even mention it anymore on the flights. And yeah, hey, Tivo Talk, he says based Switzerland. Yeah, that's true. And everything was normal. And then I will say people were asking about the culture, the COVID culture here. And so far, everywhere I've been, Switzerland, Germany, and France, at least the cities we went to, and we were mostly in Zurich in Switzerland. I was there for a day, literally just a day. And then in Germany, I've mostly been in Freiburg, and then in France, only to Strasbourg. But in Germany, we drove through a lot of small towns, like a lot of really cute, tiny towns. And the culture, there's no COVID culture here. I was shocked, actually. There are still, just like in Texas, where I live, there are still some people you see out and about wearing the mask by choice, but very few given what I thought I would see. And even like we took a tram yesterday, and on the public tram, it says you must wear a mask. But there, we saw a few people not wearing one, so we were like, well, we're not wearing one. Fuck that. So we're Americans. Individualism. So we didn't wear them, and nobody said anything. And you like I said, you still see your occasional weirdo, but I see those in Texas too. I mean, today, for example, my husband finished the last of his shows last night. So today we said we're just gonna have a good time, relaxing time, our last full day in Europe. What do you want to do? And I found a hot bath in Freiburg, and I love hot baths. There's kind of Korean in Los Angeles. I used to go to the Korean spas. In the Korean ones, they separate you by sex, and which is probably very problematic now. They have the men and the women separated, and everyone's naked, and they have all kinds of different hot spas and springs and then sauna, and people spend all day there relaxing, and apparently that's a very German thing too. So they had a hot springs here. So we went, and I did see one weirdo in the pool with a with a mask. So, but that could have been in Texas too. So, Emily says, if you go to the doctor here in Austria and Germany, you have to wear a face diaper. Probably. I would not be surprised. Yeah, there's probably some places where they still make you wear it. Oh, hi, Karen. I can't get back to your comment, or I would. Oh, there you are. Hi, Kieran White is here. He says, glad to see you're having a good time. Sorry I couldn't come see you. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Hey, I wanted to say something else, by the way. We got these tickets via points, which I never did before. I didn't know. I know it sounds silly, but I didn't know about points. I knew about points, but I didn't know that you could actually get like flights with them. Anytime I've signed up for a card and gotten points, it's been barely any points. And so my husband found a great card. And since we had to make big purchases for the house renovation anyway, we used the card, got the points, paid off the card, and then got these tickets. So I didn't have a lot of, since the tickets were points tickets, I didn't have a lot of flexibility with picking other cities, or it would have cost more money. So I really just came in for this week. But all that being said, I had so much fun here, and I think next time he comes, I want to come for a longer time and plan it the right way, because there were several people in London I wanted to see, and I know some people who watched the Deprogrammed were saying, "Oh, I wish you had come to the city instead." And Paris, there's a friend I want to see in Paris, so I definitely want to come back. And now that COVID doesn't seem to be as crazy, I think we'll be able to do that and visit more people next time. And let's see. My last trip to the States was totally on point, says Ian. It feels good, right? It feels like you won something. Like I feel like I won a ticket. It's pretty cool. So Kaffee and Kuchen. The other stuff about Germany that I'll tell you is there's a lot of Kuchen. Kuchen is cake. And everyone eats cake, and cake, as far as I can tell, cake is like any kind of decadent. It gets cake, but it's also like pastry, sort of. It's everything. And everybody has it like every day for multiple meals. But people walk a lot more here, like because they're in the town center, and everything is it's just more of like a walking place, these European cities. And so Anthony keeps track of his steps, and I think we've done like 4 or 5 times as many steps here per day, just going places on foot. And so I think that they're able to eat more cake because they walk all the time. And we've had so much cake. I was like, Germany and France are trying to kill me, because every meal people are like, and now cake. I'm like, Kuchen. I'm like, okay, yes, I'll have more. I'm on vacation. A lot of cake. The bread here is really good, very good, fresh. What else? The cows look really happy here when we are driving through the countryside. Everything's really green and lush, And our friends here were saying that it's actually been very dry. They were saying the Rhine River is down, and they were talking about climate change and the dryness of and how it's getting progressively worse. But from an American perspective, especially, well, a Texan perspective, it's not dry here. It doesn't look that way. It's lush and green like I imagine Ireland would look. And as you're driving through the countryside, the cows are just lounging, like, they look so happy, and the sheep, they're just I don't know, I wish that the cows I pass in Texas looked that happy, that's all. What else? So cake looks great. The cake tastes great, the cows look happy. The air does seem cleaner to me. Maybe that's just psychological. I'm like, "Oh, you're on vacation, everything seems brighter," but the fresh air smells really good. The churches, this has been my favorite part. The history here. We went to 2 cathedrals, and well, actually, yesterday we went to a small one in Freiburg that was built in the year 679. Okay, 679. I even was wondering if the plaque, if the one had fallen off, but no, it's that old. And then we also went to the Freiburger Münster, which is the big cathedral here in Freiburg, and they started construction on it in the 1200s. We went on a tour of it on Saturday, and then on Sunday we went to the church service there. It's gorgeous. It's so old, and it really puts things in perspective because in America, you know, I think of like our house that we're renovating was built in 1914. And I think, oh, we got this old house. It's great. And it's actually not very old. Now I know why Europeans will laugh at me when I say it's old, because this cathedral was hundreds of years ago. And we toured a museum about the history of Freiburg, and you learn about how people were for generations are building these beautiful, detailed, um, monuments to God, and not just the churches, the buildings, everything. They would pitch in, and you would be working on something, building something that you would never live long enough to see the completed project. Your kids might not even live long enough. Several generations are working on this, and just to take that in, the age of these buildings and the amount of time and the detail and the love that's put into just on the doorways, just all the carvings, it's just overwhelming. It's gorgeous. And to sit in a church service there, I didn't know what he was saying. It was in German, but when they sang, they have these huge the organs, and it just reverberates the music all through the cathedral, and with the whole everyone in the congregation singing, it made me emotional. It was so beautiful and so old. And I was thinking about that priest up there, like whatever he was saying, I was like, he think about how many priests have been up here in this cathedral through the generations, and that's his job. And I hope he takes it very seriously because like what an amazing job to be up there in this cathedral that's hundreds of years old and speaking the word of God to people. And anyway, it was very cool. You guys might think it's cheesy, but I thought it was cool. We also went to, in Strasbourg, we went to the Cathedral de Notre Dame. Is that right? Which a lot of people asked me about online. I posted pictures. They asked if the reconstruction was done, and just to clarify, no, that's in Paris. This is a different one. This is one in Strasbourg, and they're called. It's like Our Mother, Cathedral of Our Mother of Paris or of Strasbourg. So this is not the one that was on fire, and it was gorgeous. Same, and it was much bigger than the Münster here, and once again, I think it's just to be around. I think everyone, if they can, every American needs to at least once visit Europe. It doesn't have to be Germany, or France, Italy, whatever. Visit some of these old like places rooted in history, just to put everything in better perspective for yourself. I think it's great. It actually reminded me of. Do you guys remember the Eddie Izzard joke? He has a joke about Americans and how excited we get. He says, Americans, they get so excited. They say, this hotel has been restored to the way it looked 50 years ago. And and it's true. We do that. He says, but we have castles. And they do. We also went to a castle that was in France. And they have so many castles here. I'll tell you guys, we're in the car with friends and they're like, well, do you want to go to this castle or this other castle? I'm like, what? Like, okay. You just pick there's so many castles, like, throw a rock. Let's go to that castle. So we got to this castle right as they were closing, which was, we were like running up and you see the huge castle gates. We're like, no. And I really wanted to knock and be like, I left my sunglasses in the castle. Like, please let me in. But no, we didn't get in. We walked around the outside. It was gorgeous. It was good enough. And again, just the age of these buildings puts everything in better perspective for me, being an American. Adam, is that a Hysteria t-shirt? Yes. Def Leppard. Today, I'll tell you one of the funniest things I saw. We were, what was the band that we saw? That girl was we were standing in line the last day after we went to the baths. We were going to get a bratwurst because, have another German meal before we leave. And we went to the Moon Store at the square and they have all the food trucks and got in line to get a bratwurst. And there was a woman standing there after us to get a hot dog. This is what I love about humans. Humans are just we're so funny and weird. Everyone. And this woman was standing there and she was wearing an old rock shirt too. It's an Iron Maiden shirt. I was like, badass, right? And then I look and she's got a baseball cap that also says Iron Maiden. It matches, which makes it weird. Then you're like, wait a minute, why are you wearing the hat and the shirt? And then I looked at her phone and her phone cover was also Iron Maiden. So then I was just like thinking about her and like when she gets dressed in the morning, is it like every day a different band with a matching hat, or is it always Iron Maiden? Or was there some special reason why today it was all Iron Maiden wear? Anyway, sorry, that's nothing to do with Germany. This is what happens when I don't have this is what happens on Kaffee Break Unplugged. I don't have someone to interview. It's just random things I'm thinking about. So there you go. I do have something I wanted to talk about. Let me see if I can put this on screen. And if you guys have anything to say. Human Kirk, thank you for the euro. I know what that is now. It's a €5 note. Thank you, sir. He says, make sure to visit Eisenach, maybe, next time, where Martin Luther translated the Bible into German. I would love to.
It's also where Bach was born.
Anthony says that's also where Bach was born. Have you been there?
Yes.
He's been there.
That's cool.
Wow. Okay, can I put this on screen? Because this makes me happy. Slimer Snarf says, Keri, I used to roll my eyes and wish that you would come to your senses when you would mention Christianity and Christ. But I'm so happy to say I found my way back to my faith. That makes me very happy. And thank you for telling me that. And that relates to something I wanted to talk about today, which is not really anything that's in the news, but this week I had some like weird things happening where people were commenting on some of my posts. Well, I always get criticism. I always get detractors, Real Raven says, don't tear up, Keri. It's okay. I'll find my way back eventually too. It's okay if you don't. It's okay. It's okay. I'm not like here to try and be like, come over to my way of thinking. Okay, let me explain this. This week, there were a couple things I posted that drew a very specific kind of criticism, and not just criticism. It wasn't criticism, actually. It was hatefulness. hatred. And it was weird because one of the posts I did was about Britney Spears. It was an article I'd seen where she said she doesn't believe anymore. And I wanted to read this to you guys. Let's see if I can share this because I had no idea this was going to be a controversial post or anything. It's actually me kind of like translating what I think she's saying, and what she's saying is not unique. I've heard it many times, many different ways from many different people. It's just she happens to be a celebrity and she's saying it publicly and there's a news article about it. So it's an easy way to illustrate this thing I'm thinking about. Here's what she said. See if you guys can see. So the headline is Britney Spears says she doesn't believe in God anymore because of the way her family has treated her. Now, if you scroll down, one of the bullet points says she's an atheist now. Okay, here we go. Britney Spears said that she no longer believes in God after losing her faith because of her years-long conservatorship. On Sunday, Spears' ex-husband Kevin Federline and one of their sons, Jaden James, spoke on 60 Minutes Australia about how they felt about the relationship with the circus singer. During the interview, Jaden James said that his relationship with Spears could be fixed if she gets better mentally. In a now deleted voice memo on Instagram, which was later published by the Daily Mail, Spears responded by calling Jaden hateful and saying that her faith in God has been shaken by her family's treatment of her. Quote, God would not allow that to happen to me if a God existed, she said, referring to her 13-year conservatorship, which ended last year. Quote, I don't believe in God anymore because of the way my children and my family have treated me. There is nothing to believe anymore. I'm an atheist, y'all. I like that she put a y'all. I'm an atheist, y'all. Anyway, here's what I said about that. Here, I'm going to remove that. I'll say it from memory. I don't have it pulled up in front of me. But basically, what I said was that the translation of that is I don't believe in God anymore because things have gone badly for me. I only believed in God when things were going great for me because it's all about me and how I'm doing and my ego. But as soon as things have gone badly or bad things have happened to me, I no longer believe. It was something like that. That was like that's what I hear when I read that. And my point was, my post wasn't even really about Britney Spears. There were a lot of people who got pissed off because I guess they love Britney. Like those people have like super allegiances when it's not just that they like a celebrity, but they kind of worship a celebrity. There's always that weird, like small subset of people. So I think some people were upset about that because they're like, Britney, leave Britney alone. Have some empathy. I'm like, I do. It's not really even about her. It's about what she said and what I hear when someone says that. And the mean response I got though was several people, not just one, 4 or 5 different people who atheists who just came with the teeth out and basically were saying something to the effect of, your God, Keri, your God is a delusion and you're delusional and I feel sorry for you. And, I think you're hilarious that you actually believe in your God, you stupid Christian. Okay, there were several of those. And what's interesting is they were all from people who've said that hundreds of times on my Facebook page. And I've allowed them to. I've allowed them to for 2 years or longer. I had recognized several of the screen names. They're always in my comments. And this is not all atheists. I'll say this right. I know this is not all atheists. I'm friends with atheists who are not like this. This is a very specific type of person. And this is the atheist version of that person. But it's the atheist version of that my way or the highway, miserable, hateful, mocking, scoffing kind of personality. And, the past couple of years, when I would see that, usually I would just ignore it and let them say whatever. And sometimes I would see Christians in the comments arguing with them. And I was like, I don't have time. They can think whatever they want. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't care if I know they think I'm stupid or I'm delusional or God's in my, that's okay. They can think that, So I've always kind of just let those comments go. But this week it was weird because there were so many of them and they were so hateful on that very innocuous kind of post about what Brittany had said that I think I had enough. I was talking about with my husband. I'm sharing this with you guys in case you've had this kind of moment, but I was like, there's turning the other cheek, which I've tried to do as best that I can, but there's also like, I don't think God wants you to be a doormat. And after a certain point, I said to one of the people who I've been nothing but kind to her over the past couple of years, one of these angry atheists who I agree with on a lot. We agree with each other on all kinds of other posts. But whenever anything about God or my faith comes up, she's one of the ones in the comments there like, your stupid God and your stupid belief, and just very hateful and judgmental. And I said to her, like, you know, yes, I know you think this. I know you think I'm dumb and you think I'm hilarious because I believe, and that's okay. But why do you have to say it like every time? Like, do you think there are new people reading my comments today? Like, why are you always here saying it? I get it. I know you think that. Thank you. Thank you for telling me again. Like, what's the point? And she came back with something really nasty. And at that point I was like, you know what? Done. I don't need to listen to you being hateful towards me or anyone else merely because they have faith, any more than I would want to listen to a Christian being hateful towards atheists for not having faith. And you're welcome to do that in your digital home. And, you know, I've never once darkened the door of any of these this particular kind of atheist. I was thinking about, I was like, I don't think I've ever been on their wall in their comments, uh, sharing my opinion about God or faith, much less being hateful and, you're an idiot for not believing. Like, I would never talk to someone that way. So why why would I continue to put up with it here? Anyway, this may be boring to you guys. To me, it's something I grappled with. I was thinking about it, and because I want to turn the other cheek, there was this hesitancy in me to block, but I finally said, "No, I'm blocking. I've heard enough of it. You've told me for 2 years. You can go say it in your own space now. I don't have to hear it here." And anyway, that happened. So it made me think a lot about faith and how you share your views and stuff. Um, and yeah, Alyssa, she says, right, all I did was mention one aspect of my faith, and an atheist absolutely lost it on me. Really weird. It is weird. It is weird. And again, for any atheists listening, I know there's lots of atheists in our community who do not behave that way. And I have friends who do not behave that way. It's a particular type of person, I think, and some of them are atheists. This is the atheist version, and some of them are Christian, and some of them are what have, but it's that very much my way or the highway, and very controlling and toxic, I think, kind of person. And um, what I would say is that your beliefs must be very fragile indeed, like very fragile, if you can't even tolerate hearing someone with differing beliefs express them. Like, how how weak are you that the mere expression of someone else talking about God, or maybe their lack of belief, that triggers you so much that you have to show up in the comments every time. And my friend Fritz from Myth Informed, he had a good point. He said, "Yeah, but you and I were both anti-woke, and we talk a lot about why we're against woke, and that's true." And I had to think about that. I was like, "That's true," and I do that. It's very important to me to speak about why I'm against my old ideology. I think it's an evil ideology, and I think I have a lot to try and make amends for. And part of that is speaking the truth about my old belief system. And I speak about why I'm against woke all the time on videos and on Twitter and Facebook, etc. But I don't go into, I was thinking about it and I was like, let's at least put it this way. I very rarely, I can't recall going into the comments of friends who are woke and being nasty to them. I don't if I've done that, it's been so few. I can't think of one. Let me put it that way. It's just not something I do. I mean, my husband has friends who are woke. I know they're woke. They know I'm not. I don't go into their comments and say nasty things about how dumb they are that they're still woke. It's sort of a like I'm happy to do it in my space, and if you want to come and hear, great, and if you don't want to hear, you don't have to listen. But even when speaking against something that I think is a bad belief system, like woke, I don't do it on that personal level like that. So yeah, socially awkward says you can criticize something without being hateful and angry. Exactly. Exactly. So okay, that was a long ramble. I was just trying to figure out my thoughts on that. Somebody says Carrie's frozen. Am I frozen for everyone? Mary or just you? Am I frozen, guys? Tell me. I'm gonna read some super chats. Let's see. Dirkhown. Dirkhown. Thank you for the 10 euros. Says, I was thinking about inviting you to a convention near my city on Saturday if you had been looking for something to do. Glad I did not offer. They had to evacuate due to weather, but Sunday was great. Oh, that's terrible. Actually, Saturday we had a free day, but I'm glad you didn't invite me if the weather was terrible. Yeah, Saturday we toured some cathedrals and had more cake. Thank you, Big Raj, for the super sticker. Thank you very much. Noah in $2. Thank you, sir. He says, what's your favorite foods on the trip? The bread smells. Oh, the bread smells so good. Okay, let's see. So I had, well, I really love the bratwurst because that's like traditional and everyone eats it. It's so funny watching people on their lunch break, like these dainty ladies in their office dresses, and they've got this huge bratwurst that's so long it's too long for the bun, and this bun with mustard all over it. Dainty ladies like eating these huge hot dogs, just on their break, standing up. There's nowhere to sit, and it just I don't know that cracks me up. Anyway, they were very good. We had another one today, bratwurst. A doner kebab was very good. There's a lot of kebab shops here, kebab and pizza for some reason. I think it's a lot of Middle Eastern people who open and they do both. They do kebab and pizza. We had a doner kebab. It was great. At some of the places my husband played, they would make us food. And one of the places called, oh, I wish he was still in the room because I'm going to mispronounce it. It means tasty wagon. Like lecker wagon. He'll have to tell me later. If there's a German person in the chat, please translate tasty wagon. Or anyway, this place was delicious, and it's a husband and wife who own it, and they have music, and everyone comes. They like really appreciate the music. They're there to hear the music. I mean, they're eating and they're drinking wine too, but unlike America, where a lot of times, and if you go to like a restaurant, if you go to hear music at a restaurant or a wine bar, sometimes people are not there to hear the music. They're just there, understandably, to eat and talk with their friends, and then there happens to be music. This is different. People come out here in Europe to hear the music, and then that's the primary thing, and then they're eating and drinking wine with their friends. And so this place, they made us Wiener Schnitzel for my husband, which I tasted and I was like, well, this is basically like in Texas, we call this chicken fried steak or chicken fried chicken. And I had the goulash. It was so good. And spretzel, somebody correct my pronunciation of that. It's sort of like a pasta thing. It's delicious and it's definitely carbs. I've had so many carbs on this trip. But yeah, I love the goulash. I love the bratwurst, and I love the Kuchen, the cake. Let's see. Human Kirk for €5. Thank you, sir. He says, Keri, that kind of projected anger is someone who is not at peace and is envious of yours. Let them be. And by your example, they might see the way. Yes, thank you. That's always been the way I've felt about it, which is why I hesitated to block these people, because I've always kind of felt like, well, if you don't block them and they see that you haven't blocked them, even though they're hateful, maybe eventually, even years from now, they'll be like, you know, I like the way that you behave, even though I was hateful. It's that whole thing about behaving your words, like behaving the way that you speak, showing your beliefs in the way that you act. So I hesitated, but I said, no, I'm blocking. I'm just tired of it. It's been 2 years of that kind of hatred. And I'm just done. I'm done with it. Like, I'm not going to attack you back or whatever, but I don't have, it's like you coming into my house and wiping your dirty feet here and insulting my other guests, like every single time that you're here. If that were happening in real life and you were doing that and being a dick to everyone, I would ask you to leave. Like, go be a dick somewhere else. So that's the way I felt about it. Okay, let's see. Somebody's giving me Wiener Schnitzel is veal, Tyler says. Is it? Probably. I wasn't sure what kind of meat it is, but the way they cook it, they have it breaded on the outside. It makes me think of chicken fried steak. That's probably blasphemy to call it that. Spätzle. I don't know how to pronounce it, but that's it. Thank you, Noah. That's what was on the side of the goulash, and it was delicious. If you like carbs, you would love it. Are you going to get a lederhosen hat? No, I didn't see a good one, but it was really funny. I kind of like to lean into the American stereotypes. And when we were walking around yesterday, we walked a lot and we walked up to the top of this mountain and looked at this old church and had lunch up there. And I had these American flag sunglasses. It's all American flag on them, just because they're so cheesy. And it's like, why not lean into it? I heard that here in Germany, they call us, they have a slang term for Americans. They call us Amis for American, and they call us dumb Amis, which I don't care. That's kind of funny. And my husband's back, he's laughing. And I kind of like to just lean into that. And so I was joking that we were going to try and find lederhosen for my dog while we were here. And my husband found this picture. Let me see if I can show you. Can you guys see that? I was just going to go into all the German shops. I only ended up asking one person at one of my husband's shows. We were talking and he spoke a little English, and I love talking to people when there's a language barrier and figuring out what you have in common and those universal human things where you can pick up on things like humor is actually universal, Well, anyway, we were talking and laughing, and I showed him this and I was like, do you know where we can find this? We're looking for this. And he's like, what? And that really cracks me up. Like, I don't know. I just think just lean into those stereotypes. They're funny. Hello, I'm from America. Looking for lederhosen for my dog. Yeah. I didn't have a lot of topical things to talk about today. I just wanted to get that off my chest about the Christian beliefs and the hatred. Scott says, well, isn't that spatial? How do you pronounce it? Spatzel?
Spitzel.
Spatzel. Well,
That's what you had the first night. That's what we had at Liquor Lock.
Well, isn't that Spatzel? That's really funny. Nerd. That's really funny. My husband said the place is called Lakerladen. Lekkerladen. The place where we ate.
Right.
And he played. Andrew Joyner, thank you for the super sticker. £2. I know what that is now. Pounds and euros. That's what people have been taking here. And let's see. Are there any others? Did I miss any? I just wanted to say hello. Oh, somebody said veal is still cow or beef. Laura says, it's not the disagreement, it's the way they speak it. Yes, that's it exactly. It's not the disagreement. It's the hatred that comes with it. I'll give another example. This week, I released a pre-recorded interview with Tabitha from Murder Knits. And if you guys haven't seen it yet, go and watch it. She's great. She's Lutheran. She's what she calls herself a trad wife, which some people don't know what that means. I just learned what trad means the past couple of years. It's women who excuse me, they call themselves trad for traditional, like a traditional gender roles in the home, in the house. And at the beginning of our interview, she and I were talking about how, like, Christians believe, like the verse about wives submit to your husbands the way that you submit to Christ, and then husbands love your wives. I'm paraphrasing, but basically, we were talking about the idea of the husband being the leader in the marriage, and there was someone in the comments who got very angry about this, who said that they ended up saying they were TERF, they were trans exclusionary radical feminists, but they were very angry. And I was sort of like, I don't get it. Like, you're saying all these things about me, you're accusing me of all these things. You haven't asked me one question about what does it mean for me to say that my husband is the leader in my marriage. You don't even know what that means. You're just assuming. You don't have any curiosity whatsoever. You just think you know what that means, and you're attacking and saying it's stupid and regressive and sexist and all this stuff, and backwards and cultish. She said it was cultish. And actually, no, that's projection. It's cultish to think that you know everything about a subject and not be the least bit curious or interested to even find out what you're criticizing, and to attack people with that kind of hatred and not even know why you're attacking them. I even asked her, I was like, what do you even think it means when I say my husband's the leader in my marriage? Like, what do you think that means? She has no idea. I don't know what she thinks she's angry about. I think what I'm going to do, though, because of all that anger and that hatred, is we're probably going to do an episode with several different women. I want to do a roundtable, and I want to ask them, what does it mean for you? These are going to be trad women, or at least women who believe in traditional gender roles. I want to ask them, what does it mean for you to say my husband is my leader in my marriage? Like, what does that mean? I bet it's different. I bet there'll be lots of different examples of what that means for women. And I want to know. I want to know how people live that belief. And so I'm going to take the hatred and try and turn it into something positive. I want to learn more about it myself. So let's see. Keri, Ian so forth for 10 lira. Okay. He says, Keri, you calling pounds lira actually made me look into why the pound symbol is a weird L. Apparently it's because it did actually used to be called Libra. You taught me something, sort of. Good. I didn't know that. Last night I don't speak any German really, and I was trying to say the word for money, and I was like, moolah, lira, shekels, money. Moolah. Okay. I think I'm gonna call it quits pretty soon. I'll answer a few more questions if you want. I don't really have a plan for this. I just figured it'd be fun to do it from Germany, and I wanted to share with you guys, say hello and share with you what the trip was like. Pie Susan. Oh my gosh, Pie Susan. All this time I thought your name was Pie Suzanne. I don't know why. Pie Susan says, have you seen YouTube channels that teach the trad way? I have not, but I guarantee you they exist. One thing I've learned about YouTube is there is a community for everything. And I've discovered a lot of different communities. So I haven't looked that up, but I guarantee you, look up Trad Wife. I'm sure you'll find a lot of content. What was the other one? Hide. Oh, the gay rascal. Hello, sir. Greetings from Germany to Keri in Germany. So near and yet so far. Ah, the gay rascal. Thank you for the super chat. I don't know if you were here at the beginning, but next time I come to Germany, I'm going to plan it a little better and have more flexibility with my flight so I can visit more cities. I think that would be great to get to meet you in person, do a meetup or something. That would be great. Zato has a very positive super chat. Thank you, Zato. Zato for $5 says, life is short, so tell someone you love them today, but yell at them in German because life is also scary and abrasive. That's funny. We've had lots of language jokes here, and there's a YouTube video about this guy. You guys should look it up. He does he makes fun of the German language, and he'll take words like butterfly and he'll say them in all the different languages, like butterfly, mariposa, farfalle. What's the other one? Swahili, kipepeo, papillon in French, right? And then he gets to German, he's like, Schmetterling. It's all just, they have so many words like that. Anyway, if you look that guy up, German funny videos, I'm sure you can find it. He's very funny. Okay. I think that's all. Oh, I do have one more thing. Keri, you need to learn some German swear words. I mean, the regular words sound like swear words. So it's a little bit like, I did learn that hospital is Krankenhaus. 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 It means sick house. And then a nurse is
Krankenschwester.
A nurse is Krankenschwester, which means sick sister. And that's pretty funny. You go to the sick house to get better. The sick sister is going to treat you. I thought that was a funny word. This book, this is one last thing I could say. Political Panorology. This is what we're reading for Deprogram Book Club. If you want to find out more about book club, there is a Facebook group called Deprogram Book Club that you can join for free. There's also the locals, where we are going to be doing a discussion about this book, likely at the end of the month. Stay tuned. But if you want to read along with us, I cannot recommend this book enough. It's already amazing just reading it, what little I've read on this trip. It's by Andrew Labachowski, probably pronounced it wrong. The foreword of this new edition, get the new one. The foreword's by Michael Rechtenwald. I got to interview him on Deprogrammed. He's brilliant. He's actually working on a new book right now, and he's someone who helps connect a lot of the pieces for me in terms of like why corporations are embracing woke ideology, this sort of mutated kind of Marxism. Why are they doing that? How are they doing that? And how does it work together? That interview, I loved talking to him. Anyway, he wrote the foreword for this version. The subhead line is The Science of Evil, Psychopathy, and the Origins of Totalitarianism. And the beginning of this book is very interesting. They're talking about how the Milgram experiments, and I'm sure you guys know those experiments. It's where they would have people play prison guards, and then other people play prisoners, and they would tell them to shock people. And at a certain point, they would tell them to shock them like enough to kill them. And they found through these experiments that about 20% of people would not administer the deadly shock, no matter what, or what they thought was a deadly shock. They would not do it. Only 20%. And then there was a great percentage of people in the middle, I don't know, maybe 70% or something. They would do it, and they would feel awful about it, but they would do it. And in the introduction to this book, they're comparing that to the book about the battalion of Nazi soldiers. The name is escaping me. It's somebody in the chat help me out. I just mentioned it today. It's the one about like why people became like how like average ordinary men. It's called Ordinary Men. And in that book, they found something similar, which was about 20% of these police reservists who got suddenly, they became Nazis. They were made into Nazis and told to kill Jewish people, that about 20% of them would not do it. But then there was a large percentage, maybe 70% or something, who would do it, but feel sick about it and awful and would throw up after, or at least the first few times after killing people, or they would drink themselves blackout drunk afterwards. So it bothered them. But then there's this tiny percentage, and I don't know how big it is, and I don't know if the book eventually gets into it. I'm excited to see. But there's this percentage of people at the other end of the spectrum in the Milgram Experiments, and if you read the book Ordinary Men, who enjoy it. They're not like the great middle of people who are easily manipulated, controlled, have flexible morals, and can be used to do evil and to commit evil. They're not like the 20% who abstain no matter what. And they're not like the great mass in the middle. They enjoy it. They love having an excuse to commit evil. They don't have any shame about it. They have no empathy about it. This book is saying those are the psychopaths. Those are the cluster B types. And I think that's fascinating. I've been thinking a lot about it, and just what that means for all different types of immoral acts, not just murder, but how there's probably that small section of people who just don't feel guilt for the things that other people, if they have weak morals and they do something wrong and later they learn from it, or they feel awful about having done it, or they carry shame for having done it, that there's this small percentage who don't. They don't experience shame or guilt for lying, cheating, like betrayal, or any of these things that are immoral. Stealing, I don't know. It's fascinating. I hope that you guys will read it. It's called Political Ponerology. Get the new edition. And I think that's it. I think I'm going to sign off. Next time I see you guys will be Wednesday night. We're going to be doing pop culture. Me and Mystery Chris. I'm not sure yet what we're talking about. I'll post about it. But I think we might be doing punk and Johnny Rotten. Wednesday nights is when we do pop culture and we do deep dives into different topics. So I hope you'll join us then. Thank you for tuning in. I should also mention I've got an event coming up at the end of the month in Round Rock, Texas, with Michelle Evans, Megan Murphy, Isabella Malbin, and I'm blanking on the last name. I'm sorry. It's a Women Leading the Left event. I will post about it in the comments right below this video as soon as I sign off. If you are in the Austin area, the Round Rock area, I hope you'll come out and say hello and hang out with us. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. Okay. Bye-bye.